Greetings and welcome to Let's Talk About Books, baby, where we talk with your favorite LGBTQ plus authors. I'm Anita Kelly, and today my guest is Marie Rutkoski. Hi, Marie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for being on the show. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So, Marie, let's jump right in, and I want to hear all about your new novel called Ordinary Love. Can you tell us about the characters and the plot and anything else you want to share about this book?
Absolutely. It is the story of Emily who, when she was 18 years old, fell in love with her best friend, another girl, and it was this first true, passionate love. But it ends in heartbreak. And Emily goes on to marry a man who seems to be perfect. He is wealthy, he's handsome, he adores her. But over the course of the marriage, he becomes increasingly problematic and controlling. And the book begins with Emily leaving this marriage. And just as she leaves this marriage, or soon after, she runs into her ex-girlfriend, Jen, at a party. And Jen, in the intervening years, has become a famous Olympic track athlete with the kind of stature of Megan Rapinoe or Abby Wambach. And Jen is no longer this kind of lanky kid who is a loner and doesn't have much money. Now she's really, she has quite a stature. She's featured in magazines, and she has a lot more confidence and a reputation for being a lady killer. So the big question of the book is, can Emily and Jen be together again?
Wow. That's there's a lot of twists there, it sounds like.
Mhm.
Um, so is this considered like a romance novel then?
I think that I would consider it to be a literary romance novel. I sometimes think of it as a queer normal people, uh, in the sense that it's told over a long period of time, and is about relationships and about a really important, intense one that endures through changes of life.
Okay.
But it's gay.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. So that is an interesting plot, a different kind of twist to what I would say is your pretty typical LGBTQ plus read. Um, and I'll just throw this out there. Is this in any way autobiographical?
Probably not in the ways that you might think. It's it's autobiographical in the sense that Emily, she comes from a small Midwestern town. I come from the Midwest too, and she ends up attending Harvard, which I did as well. So some of those parts are autobiographical in the sense that you can see Emily's uh, kind of wonder and astonishment at how privileged the campus is, how just extraordinary so many things are. It's kind of funny because I think that there's a subgenre of fiction out there of writers who have gone to Harvard, like Gabrielle Zevin or Elif Batuman, where you see some of the same things popping up, like the glass flowers or this building that I write about. In Ordinary Love. So that was a bit autobiographical. I would also say that some of the parts about Emily and her children were, I have two kids. One is 16 and the other is going to be 13 this week. And I mean, that's not the ages of the kids in the book. Those kids are much younger, but some of the things that they say were pulled from real life. Like at one point, Emily's son ask, where does time go? And that was a question that Teo, my younger son, asked me years ago. And um, this kid also really likes the turtles at the Hearn's Head in Central Park, and my son liked the turtles. So it's not so much that the romance um, has anything to do with my life, but being a mother and being a queer mother
Mm-hmm.
um, for sure does, and my education as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Awesome. Um, so do your kids know that you kind of shared a little bit of themselves, I guess, in the book?
I told my older one, but I don't think I've told the younger one yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Would he be okay with that?
Oh, yes, I think he will
He would
be
be.
happy that that made its way into the book.
He would be proud of that.
Hmm.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah,
Kids are awesome.
they are so awesome.
Yeah. So when you left the Midwest and went to Harvard, did you go to Harvard for creative writing?
No, I went there for my graduate degree, for my PhD. I wanted to become a professor, which I am. I'm a professor of English literature at Brooklyn College. And I wanted to study Shakespeare and to teach Shakespeare. So that was what I did. I did not study creative writing, but in my final year of graduate school, when I was living in London and doing research at the British Library, I had the idea for my first book and I began writing it. And then I just thought, no, I can't do this right now. I have to finish my dissertation. But then as soon as I finished my dissertation and I turned it in and I got my degree, I spent the summer writing that book, and then published it in, I think, 2008. It was a book for
Wow.
children.
A book for kids?
Hmm.
Yeah. And what is that book called?
It's called The Cabinet of Wonders.
Okay. And and when you say a book for children, is it like a picture book or a storybook?
No, it's more of it's for middle grade readers. So
Okay.
I'd say ages 9 to 12, and it's a fantasy novel set in an alternative Prague, where there's magic. And oh gosh, it's so funny to be talking about this book now because it was ages ago that I wrote and I barely remember it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fantasy novel. So I think if a kid who likes Philip Pullman's books would probably like The Cabinet of Wonders.
Okay. All right. So you wrote that when you were young, getting out of grad school. Is that right? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't even know how old I was. I was in my 20s,
Okay. So
26.
if right now, if you could have a conversation with that younger self, what would you say to that person about being queer and being creative?
It's so interesting. This question is an interesting one, and I don't think I've ever answered it to anybody. I came out pretty late in life. And when I came out when I was 40, or maybe officially came out, yeah. And I love my queer life. It's so nice. And I'm just so grateful for it. And, I'm friends with my kid's father. I think he's a great guy. I do not regret for a moment my marriage to him. But I guess if I were to talk to me, a younger version of me, I would say you should date more kinds of people. You should explore other genders than the one you're currently interested in at the moment or focused on. I think that I was always queer,
Hmm.
but I think that there is, as you know, there is a compulsive heteronormativity that
Hmm.
a lot of us are um, subject to for a
Hmm.
period of time. And for me, that period of time lasted longer than I think it really needed to.
Yeah, yeah. Especially coming from the Midwest, um, there aren't a lot of role models available to you, as there would be, like I would say, on the coast, on
Yeah.
east or west coast. Seems to have a larger LGBTQ community. Um, so yeah, I can understand that.
Anita, I never really thought about that. Thank you for mentioning that because it's true. Now that you say that, I didn't, I didn't know any queer people growing up,
Yeah.
and nobody, nobody that I knew, even at school, was out.
Wow.
Um, I mean, they're definitely, it's been kind of funny to, with the fullness of time, it has turned out that pretty much there are a number of people who were my close group of friends in high school who are now queer or out as queer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easy to look back and think, oh, we were all along it was there. But nobody talked about it or was open about it.
Hmm. Hmm. So that could be because of where you lived. It could be, messages that you got from the school. It could be a lot of factors that, you know. Uh,
I think, yeah, I think also time. I mean, this was in the early 90s,
mhm.
early to mid 90s. So,
Things were definitely different, right?
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm so glad that you found your true self. Um, because
Yeah, me too.
yeah, that is awesome. Um, so you went to school for English literature, and what kind of got you into creative writing? Were there like authors or any novels that inspired you, or did you just say, "Hey, I have the story in my head, and I got to do this"?
I wanted to be a creative writer from an early age, and I think it just came out of me when that final year of grad school, and maybe writing a dissertation, even though it was about something totally different. I think being able to write any kind of book
Mm-hmm.
and to tell a story, even if in that case it was an academic one,
Mm-hmm.
uh, made me understand how to fit the structure of a narrative told over time or a narrative told over many pages
Mm-hmm.
in my head. But it's interesting that you ask about inspiration because there is a kind of funny inspiration for Ordinary Love, which is Jane Austen's Persuasion.
Oh.
I mean, Ordinary Love is not a retelling at all, but in Jane Austen's Persuasion, as you might know, Anne Elliot, when she was younger, was persuaded by her family to turn down an offer of marriage from this young man who loved her and she loved him, but he was poor and he had no prospects. And so she listened to her family and she said, no, I won't have you. And then he went away and she never found love again.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, he became wealthy and prestigious and he comes back to town and he's now Captain Wentworth. And um, all the ladies in the town want him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, wouldn't it be fun to write a book where there is a figure like Captain Wentworth, but she's queer? She's
Mm-hmm.
a woman and she's queer.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's the character of Jen, the athlete.
Cool.
She was inspired by Captain Wentworth.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I love that. Um, and and in the story, I'm assuming it's a happy ever after ending.
Well, I can't spoil it,
Okay.
but I can at least say that I, Anita,
Hmm.
love an HEA. I am here for the happy endings.
Okay.
I can't say whether my book has one because I don't want to ruin things for people, but I will just say that I'm a fan of such an ending.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how was it like? What was it like for you to kind of navigate, um, publishing as a queer author? Um, had you had published before as a straight author, so was there a difference? Did you have difficulty finding someone who wanted to work with you and publish your work?
No, it's been mostly great.
Awesome.
And been, it's also been great to have a community of other queer authors. It's just so nice. What about you? What has been your experience?
Um, you know, as time goes on, more mainstream publishing houses have um, a LGBTQ like aspect of publishing, but there are some publishing houses who are just solely LGBTQ plus, and that's all they publish.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of great houses out there. A lot of people are self publishing these days too.
Mhm.
And there's something to be said for that. I think it's a lot more work. Um, you have to be your own editor or hire an editor, where as if you're with a publishing house, they will do the editing for you. They'll do the proofreading and everything. So that, I guess both have their pros and cons.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so who is the publisher? Do you want to give a shout out to them?
Sure. My publisher is Knopf, and my incredible editor is Jenny Jackson, who is an author in her own right. She wrote Pineapple Street, and I adore her.
Oh, that's
I'm
wonderful.
really, Knopf is it's just my dream imprint. I'm so happy to be publishing with them.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so happy that you're happy with them. Like, I think that makes all the difference in the world, right? Um, it's like your job. You have to be happy to be able to produce um, good stuff. Um,
Yes.
yeah, definitely. So, when you write, like, do you write with an LGBTQ plus audience in mind, or are you looking for more of a broader audience?
I would say that an LGBTQ plus audience is always the heart of my audience. They are the people I truly want to reach, and I hope that when they read my book, that they see pieces of themselves in it. And that's really important to me. But I would also say that I want to write for everybody. And I think that even though this is a queer story, that there are kind of avenues in for a lot of people. I mean, it's the book is not just about romantic love, it's also about complicated family tensions. It's about marriage and divorce, about miscarriage and motherhood, about friendship. And I think that anybody can relate to those topics,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
or at least to a few of them.
yeah. That's a lot that you have going on in there, and I think that it does, you know, um, appeal to a larger audience for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think one of the big things I was exploring in the book is what it means to make a mistake, and to live with it and to try to rectify it. And even that, everybody makes mistakes. It's just unavoidable. So I think that my readership could be anybody who's ever made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So, in Ordinary Love was the um original marriage the mistake, or was it the mistake of not being true to oneself? How did you identify that?
I think both. I
Okay.
think that Emily and Jen made a mistake in breaking up, though it's also the case that they were very young at the time. They were freshmen in college when they break up, and they're going to schools that are in different parts of the country. So there are plenty of natural common reasons why they that might not work at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think turning away from their love for each other and the reasons why are revealed to be a mistake. And I do think that Emily's marriage to her husband is a mistake. There's one point in the book where Emily is thinking about her marriage, and it hasn't gone very well, the marriage,
Mm-hmm.
but she's also thinking, but I couldn't undo it, because if I did undo it, it would undo my children. It would
Mm-hmm.
undo my life. It would undo who I am right now.
Yeah.
So it's complicated. I think making mistakes it's a complicated thing, and I'm not sure that even if we could, we would undo all the ones that we make, even if
Mm-hmm.
we recognize them as mistakes.
I think that I really believe everything happens for a reason. And I think you're right. We've all made mistakes. And I don't even look at them as mistakes, I look at them as learning opportunities, growing opportunities, and I think that's what we're all intended to do is learn and grow from our experiences, and they change us. They and we can make different choices as we grow and learn. Um, yeah, I don't know.
This is so this is so evolved of you, Anita. Meanwhile, every time I make a mistake, will torture myself about it for a few years and blame myself, and then eventually think, oh, well, what can I do? It's done. So I
Ah,
like your approach much better.
yeah, 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 yeah. It took a while to get there, but I'm there. Um, so you mentioned, right, that Jen and Emily, the protagonist in Ordinary Love, um, hook up as young women, right, and then they go their separate ways, and when they get back together, they're older, wiser, more established. So was it difficult to make those changes to their characters from, like, say, one writing to when they meet up again, and they probably had totally different interactions because they're different people? How was that?
It was delightful.
Wow. I
Yeah, I
I
mean,
did not expect that answer.
well, it was delightful to me, maybe because I wrote for so long for children and young adults.
Okay.
So, I mean, you also see Jen and Emily when they first meet, they're 10 years old.
Wow.
And then they don't see each other again until they're in high school. So there's maybe one chapter or one section, a short section when they're children. But then the parts where they're 18, they're falling in love, they're on the track team together. Um, all of that was just pure pleasure to write, because I felt like I was really tapping into um, a skill set that I've long practiced, which is capturing um, what it means to fall in love for the first time and what it means to be young. Um, so, yeah, I think that felt easy to me. And then I guess, in terms of writing them when they're older, when they're in their early 30s, I guess I just thought, well, I've been in my early 30s before. I can do
Mm-hmm.
that. I can
Mm-hmm.
write like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you know, context changes everything in terms of who we are as people.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, when Emily is a mother of two small kids, she's going to have different concerns and she's going to have different perspectives than
Mm-hmm.
she did when she was 18 years old. So
Hopefully.
yeah, yes, yeah. So the context of, I mean, that's just one example, but the context of being a mother um, makes it clear how her character would have to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Wow. That's great. I didn't expect you to say delightful. I think like just thinking about it, I would think, wow, that is some character development going on. And but you know, it sounds like you just kind of drew on what you knew. Like, this is how a 30-year-old would be. This is how, you know, a 10-year-old would be. Yeah, that's great. Um, so, so, you know, is this your first queer novel that you've published?
No,
Okay.
no, I mean, I definitely have, I've written several novels with queer characters, not always main characters. Like in my YA series, The Winner's Trilogy, there's a minor character who's gay. But my previous novel for adults, Real Easy, it's a literary crime novel, and there are a couple important characters in there who are queer.
Okay.
And and then I wrote a duology called The Midnight Lie. The first is The Midnight Lie, and the second is The Hollow Heart, and that was for young adult readers. And those books were queer literary romances, or queer literary romance told over the course of two books.
Oh, that's so cool. And those are young adult books.
Hmm.
Great. Great. And are those with a different publisher?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of my books for children and young adults are published with FSG, and the literary crime novel, which is called Real Easy, is published by Holt.
Okay. Great. So that is um, a variety of genres that you've dabbled in and conquered. Um, that is so cool. The crime novel. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's been a long time since I've had to talk about it. So
Sorry to
it's
throw that at you.
no. I can do it. It's crazy how my books fall out of my head. A
Oh,
couple years.
sure. I do that after reading a novel, and you know, you're on to the next one, and you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's Real Easy is set in the 90s and centers around a strip club where one dancer is murdered, another goes missing, and the third tries to get to the bottom of what happened.
Wow, wow, that sounds interesting.
I think so.
Where does that take place?
It takes place in Illinois. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. It was the
What?
year it was published, it was a best crime novel in the New York Times. And
Oh, congratulations!
you.
That's quite a feather in your hat, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever write crime again, though. It's really hard. It's
Yeah.
a hard.
Yeah. What did you find is like the main difference between writing like a literary romance and a literary crime novel?
Um, I think that, you know, a crime novel, the plot is so crucial. And it's not like a romance doesn't have a plot.
Right.
The plot is it's emotional. You know, it's
Hmm.
um, how feelings develop. It's the tension between the characters. A romance novel is a novel about relationships and the development of it. And it's not that there's no plot. It's not that the characters are just sitting around talking. As I described the book earlier, you can hear that there's a plot. You can hear that Emily leaving her toxic marriage is not going to be easy, that's going to be a great source of tension. And that's one example of how there is plot in that book. But there's such an architecture to writing a crime novel. All the pieces have to fall into place. You have to write in such a way that you give the readers enough information all along that they could be able to identify what actually happened and who did it. But you obscure it just enough that they don't necessarily see it. And you have to write the book in such a way that even if your audience does know what is going to unfold, they will not care. Or they might even care more because of the tension of dramatic irony, where they know something that the characters don't, when maybe the characters are in danger and the reader feels for that character and they know what it's about to happen. So it's just complicated, and I wanted to write that novel mostly because I wanted to write about dancers. That is autobiographical, not the murder part, but working at a club is autobiographical. And I just wanted to capture some elements of that experience in a book. And so it just so happened that the idea I had was for essentially a murder mystery. But I don't know that I don't know if I'll write another one like that again, but never say never.
Okay. So are you telling us that you worked in a strip club?
I am, but I'm
Okay.
also, my children don't hear this podcast until they're a much later age.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep. So your readers probably just grew your readership by sharing that little piece of information. Um, so that's great. That real easy. It makes me think of that would be something that would take place in New Orleans or something. Um, yeah, but
That's what my agent said. She said exactly that. She really liked the title, but
yeah,
it's not in New Orleans, Illinois.
yeah. I didn't even know they had strippers in Illinois. You know.
There are strippers all over this world.
I'm just kidding. Yes. So let me tell you. So let me ask: have you felt supported and influenced as an author by the LGBT community since coming out and writing?
Definitely, definitely.
Oh, good.
I'm so grateful for my friends and the queer community I have, mostly in Brooklyn. Um, and and some of that does come out in the book. When Emily has, when the book begins, she's lived life as a straight woman for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even though she's not straight, she has lived a straight life. And when she meets Jen's friends, she feels almost like a sense of wonder to see that kind of community. Jen has a really tightly knit, chosen family of queer friends.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how Emily just kind of longs to be a part of that. Yeah, and I also have some queer author friends whom I climb with, and we'll talk about plots and ideas for books or what we're reading. It's just, yeah, I definitely am grateful for the support of the LGBTQ community here in Brooklyn,
Oh,
and specifically my friends.
yeah. I'm so glad to hear that. That's great. I think that is super important as just as a human being, but also as a writer. You need that support. You really do. Like a group of folks who are going to encourage you, keep you on track, give you an honest feedback. Um,
Mhm.
so that's great. So, are you working on anything right now?
I am I am working on beginning something, but I don't know that I can talk about it yet because it's still early days. But um, I think I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Um, is it of the uh, romantic nature or some
I
other
can't
genre?
I can't quite tell yet,
Okay.
but it is queer.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we will wait to see what you have. um, so right now, listeners, I am talking to Marie Rutkoski, and she is talking about her new novel called Ordinary Love. And that is available through Knopf Publishing. And I'm assuming it's available anywhere anyone would buy books, right?
Oh, for sure. But
Okay.
of course, the best place to buy books is indie bookstores.
Yes, yes. So, all right. So that is about all the time we have for today. So, Marie, I was wondering if you have any parting words for our listeners.
I think, just enjoy your books, enjoy the queer books. It's so important, especially right now. I think um, there's certainly some darkness in the world, and we need to find our light wherever we can. And I think that turning to queer books is a good way to do that.
Absolutely. Those are great parting words. Enjoy queer books. Enjoy them while you can. Um, unfortunately, that you know, I have talked to authors whose books have been put on the banned list. Um,
Yes, at least one of my young adult books has been on a few banned books lists in different states.
oh my God, unbelievable!
Yeah.
Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, no, no. I mean, it's just it's it's unfortunate,
Yeah,
obviously, especially when for some kids, uh, queer stories and books might be the only way in which they see people who are like them.
I know.
Um,
They can
you
be
know,
they can be a lifeline. You know.
could be, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, let's end on a positive note then. Enjoy queer books and check out Marie Rakowski's newly published novel, Ordinary Love, available wherever you buy your books. Thanks so much, Marie, for being with us today. That is all the time we have. I'm Anita Kelly, and thanks for joining Let's Talk About Books, baby. Until next time, may your journey be lighthearted, peace be plenty, and be safe, folks.